We are talking about working with the ancestors. We're going to be looking at how to begin with the ancestor altar, what the steps are that you can take. And we want to keep it simple. So let's get to what do we do? So, how can we connect with the ancestors? And to start, I would suggest that you start with a very simple practice. So, you can just lay out a space that's dedicated. It doesn't have to be a very big space, it can be a very small space. So you can see back here, like a shelf, a bookshelf, or a little corner of a table, of a dresser, maybe. So, just a space that's dedicated to the ancestors. And then you can start by offering them water, and you can light a candle. And that would be the simplest thing. And if saying the candle, if you're worried about a candle and fire, you can start just with water. And so it doesn't have to be a lot of water. I'm going to give you an example here. I have these votives. So in different places in my house, I have different altars. And so the altar to my ancestor, when I started with just like a little votive. So it doesn't need to be a glass of water. Now it can be, right? It doesn't need to be anything special. So you can just have a glass and then fill it with water, and then try and do that as often as you can. So daily, if you can. If you can't remember daily, then as often as you remember. The more you try to establish a daily practice, then the faster your connection and your relationship with them builds. It's the same thing as if you build a relationship with someone new. If you met a friend, and if you saw them every day, your friendship would grow a lot stronger and faster than if you only saw them once a month. So I encourage you. Now you don't have to feel guilty if you forget one day, or you're really busy and you forget. That's fine. Just come back to it the next time. So what you do is, just in whatever vessel you're going to have the water, you just fill it with water. So I'm just going to do this here. And then you offer it. And then you can either offer it out loud. This water is for my well ancestors, or it's better if you can say it out loud, but you don't have to. You can just say it in your mind, or you can whisper it. You can get nice little decorative glass that's specifically for this particular practice, where all you do is, again, you fill it with water, or you put as much water. You don't necessarily have to fill it, but you put water, and then you offer it to your ancestors. And so if you have the glass like this, then you just put it in the space where that's going to be dedicated for the ancestors, so that this water is for them. And so then you put it there. So then that becomes part of your connection, is you offering this water to the ancestors. If you think of being a good guest, right? So whenever you're invited to a party, you bring something with you to offer to the host. And so part of what we're doing here is we're asking to start building a relationship with them. So in a sense, this desire to build a relationship with them is a request. So we're inviting them in, and we're giving this offering as this sign of inviting them forward. And then, of course, water represents life. Water represents flow. Water is this connection. And so you can think of, well, why water? We need water to survive. And water is this sign of life. And so the sign of nourishment, and that we are giving to start building this relationship with them. That's one thing that you can do, is just offering them water. When I started, I had to put the ancestor space somewhere where I saw it every day. And that was close to a water source, so that as soon as, I need to put water for the ancestors, I would go and fill it up. Then also I got into the practice of having a water container, like a water jug, near my altar. And so then I would then fill it up from the water jug. So I would do anything that would make it easier for me, so that I didn't have to go down the hall to go get the water and to remember. And so I made it as easy as possible. Another thing that I did was because I was like, oh, what do I do with the water? If you have this water like this, well, then what do you do with it the next day? You have to dump it out so that you can put the new water in. And so then I also got a plant. So I got a little plant and I put it as part of the ancestor altar so that then I could pour the water into the plant and then pour the new one. And so in a sense, so the plant also became an offering. And so what I was doing, one is I was making it as easy as possible for me to be able to do this practice so that I didn't put any roadblocks, okay, because I knew, okay, I have to throw out the water. I have to remember to do that. I have to remember to go get the water. And so I did whatever was possible. For some of you, it may be easier. For me, I have to build all these things if I want to develop a practice so that it's easier and I actually develop it. If you want to have a candle, you can do like a votive candle. And so I'm going to light a candle for the ancestors. So that's another thing that you can do is you can have maybe like a tea light and then turn on the tea light. And of course, you be careful with fire if you do, or have it in a place where there's not going to be anything that's flammable close by. So there's the fire. And so then that can become part of the altar. And notice that it doesn't have to take up a lot of space. Now, as you develop your practice, then it may take up more space. You may want to maybe have the full shelf for them, or then you develop where you have just a whole altar just set up for the ancestors. So that is just a simple practice. Another thing that people love to do is to burn incense. So that's another thing that you can do. Fire, why would we burn fire? Well, of course, fire is about protection. It represents illumination. People came around the fire in communities, and you can think of the flame as lighting the way for the ancestors to come and connect. So fire is also a good one. So notice that whatever it is that you offer has its own energy of what you're offering. Water is flow, is life. Fire is protection, illumination. I have these incense that I bought on Etsy. Somebody who handmades these, and they're very fragrant. This is stick incense, so you can do that. Of course, there's other types of incense that you can buy. So there's this frankincense and myrrh tend to be my favorite, so that's what I order. So you can have this, and then you can burn a stick of incense and then just let it, you don't have to worry too much about the flame because you turn on the incense. Now, some people can't burn incense inside their home, or you can also start it inside and then put it out. And if you have a balcony, or if you have a porch or a patio, and then let it burn or finish burning outside. So that's something that you can do. And of course, you don't have to burn the entire thing. You can just light it, burn a little bit, and give some of the smoke as an offering, and then just extinguish it and then use it the next time.